If a British person looks you straight in the eye and calls you a donut, do not say thank you. In Britain, food isn't just for eating. Apparently, it's also a precision weapon for polite disrespect. Now, in many cultures across the world, if you want to show someone love, you give them a compliment. Yeah, we do that too. But in Britain, if we really like you, we might insult you by calling you some random food words. So, in this lesson, we're going to rank British food insults from warm affection all the way up to kind of argument words, including how a simple compliment like the words smart cookie becomes lethal sarcasm with the wrong tone. Before we rank the words, you need to understand the golden rule of British culture. Politeness often equals distance, and insults often equal intimacy. If a British person is overly polite and constantly saying things like, oh, after you, no problem at all, not to worry, it usually means that they don't know you very well, that they're not overly comfortable with you. And sometimes if we really become over polite, it can mean that we secretly want you to leave. However, if you say something that somebody thinks is maybe a bit silly and they say, nice one, you donut, congratulations. You're possibly in the inner circle, because insulting each other playfully is how British people show affection without having to get emotionally vulnerable. And before we move on to the first of our words, there is a free PDF that you can download in the description to learn even more about this lesson. You can find that link in the description. Please do remember to like and hype the lesson. It helps other learners to watch it again. But now let's start right at the top with Tier 1. Harmless banter. First up, we have sausage. This is reserved for those small, cute mistakes. So if your friend accidentally wears odd socks or forgets where they parked, oh, you silly sausage, what do you like? Notice that we commonly use it with the word silly sausage. Now, parents may say this to children when they do something cute, but a bit silly. Partners may say it to each other, and it carries zero malice. We also do use it on its own. Oh, sausage. It's just a very cute way of referring to somebody's silliness. Next, we have butterfingers. This is an instant reaction when somebody drops a glass, misses a catch, or fumbles the keys. You know those people that are a bit clumsy, like they drop things. Have you dropped your phone again? Butterfingers. We also sometimes use it to talk about ourselves when we drop something. Oh, butterfingers, when we drop things on the floor and we know that we've been a bit overly clumsy. Also, on a side note, as a kid, I was awful at catching things. So my father would throw things to me and I would try to catch it. I would miss it. My father would say, oh, butterfingers. Heard that one a lot. It's playful, it's harmless, and almost always delivered with a chuckle. Butterfingers. Then we have Doughnut. Now this one completely confused my wife. This is a light, classic bit of British banter for when somebody makes a harmless slip up, a bit of a mistake, and they're fundamentally, the word donut kind of means idiot, but in a lovable way. You absolute donut, you left the front door wide open. The cats could have got out. Now, it does sound a bit harsh on paper, and I will say actually the word idiot is pretty harsh. I wouldn't really use it. But donut, well, calling someone a pastry softens the blow completely. And I told you this one really confused my wife. My wife was talking with her close friend. Her close friend is British, my wife's Brazilian. She said something that the friend thought was a bit silly, and she said, you donut. And my wife was left wondering why somebody would ever call her a donut. Well, now she knows, and you do too. A classic across the English-speaking world, but heavily used in Britain, is couch potato. Now, this one probably originated in the US, but it is so widely used in the UK. In fact, we don't often use the word couch either in British English. We'd call it a sofa or a settee, but in this expression, we do say couch potato. It basically means somebody who's being a bit lazy or unproductive. Mate, stop being such a couch potato and come outside. It's got this very visual image that it puts in your head of somebody turning into this kind of fat potato on the sofa. It's very mild and very relatable, but obviously, if somebody's using it with a bit more malice to describe somebody that they don't really like and they call them a couch potato, then it does carry more weight. But in general, we'd use it to maybe encourage our friends to stop being lazy, to stop being unproductive, to come out and join us. Oh, I don't want to go out tonight. I'm a bit tired after work. Come on, don't be such a couch potato. come and join us at the pub. It's got this idea of somebody sitting in front of the telly, which is the British slang word for television, and just spending hours as they kind of sink into the sofa. Now, for most of the words on this list, we are talking about a kind of neutral tone, but you also do need to be careful with the tone in British English. For example, this expression, smart cookie. You need to pay attention to this one because smart cookie is where British English gets tricky. Now, I imagine this is another one that didn't originate in the UK, but it is also widely used. Now, on paper, smart cookie is a compliment. It means clever. Oh, he's a smart cookie, if I mean it genuinely. But tone of voice changes everything. Now, if I use a genuine tone, it sounds like a genuine compliment. She solved that puzzle in 10 seconds. She's a smart cookie. So that sounds like I'm genuinely calling that person intelligent, clever, smart. However, listen to this tone of voice. This is a more sarcastic tone. And did you just pour boiling water instead of milk into your cereal bowl? You are a smart cookie, aren't you? You can see the difference. Zero facial expressions, and my tone of voice is a lot flatter. There's a lot less energy and enthusiasm. The same two words, the first is genuine praise, and the other is pure, concentrated British sarcasm. Always listen to the tone of voice. And of course, the more sarcastic and more potentially passive-aggressive we become, the harsher the insult. But now we're stepping up to tier 2. These are mild teasing. Now, these aren't normally endearing pet names. You use these when somebody genuinely makes a foolish mistake, acts incompetent, or gets on your nerves. And first up, we have Plum. A plum is someone who's done something visibly, undeniably stupid or foolish. He turned up to the airport without his passport. What an absolute plum. It highlights that someone made a completely avoidable mistake. And before we continue, we'll also say that context is key. So the stronger the relationship, the stronger the friendship, the more you may get away with some of these words in tier 2 as well. But I wouldn't, in general, use these for people you don't really know or for people you're not overly comfortable with. Next, we have Melon. This is used when somebody shows zero common sense or maybe even spatial awareness. Did you just walk straight into a lamppost? Oh, look where you're going, you melon. Calling someone kind of an oversized fruit adds just enough humour to keep it from starting a real argument. Then we have lemon. In British slang, a lemon can be a defective object that doesn't work, or a person who's completely useless in a crisis or situation. He tried to fix the tap and he ended up flooding the entire kitchen. What a lemon. Nutty can be used to describe someone or their behaviour, and it basically means eccentric, wild, or completely illogical. Did you hear what she said to that bloke at the bar? She is proper nutty. Proper is a British slang word to mean really or very. We can also use nutty to talk about an idea that we think is pretty much insane. Going for a swim in the sea in the middle of January, that is nutty. It's slightly less intense than calling someone crazy, which makes it perfect for light bickering. And yes, sometimes we may even use this with our friends if they do something really ridiculous. Again, context is key. Relationships matter. An alternative to nutty is nuts. We use that as an adjective as well. She is nuts. Next up, turnip. Root vegetables make brilliant British insults because they imply someone is dense, slow, and lacks basic brain power. He didn't check the map before driving 2 hours in the wrong direction. Oh, he's a turnip. And finally, for tier 2, we have prune. This is also used to mean that somebody is a bit of an idiot, a bit stupid, and they kind of stand out because of their stupidity. You thought that Africa was a country, not a continent, you prune. We also use it when somebody does something absolutely ridiculous as well. You went to the bar to order drinks and you came back with a jug of water. Mate, you're such a prune. It can also be used to say that somebody looks like a bit of an idiot. What are you wearing? That's awful, you prune. Again, it's this idea of standing out and being a bit ridiculous at the same time. Now, before we make it to tier 3, please remember to like and hype this video and let me know your favourite food insult from the ones you've heard today. But we have finally arrived at tier 3. These are high danger. These are no longer playful pet names or light teasing. When British people use these food words, they are they're directly attacking someone's character, backbone, sanity, or even their trustworthiness. And first up, we have melt. This is modern British slang that became huge through reality TV, and it is quite a sharp insult. Now, of course, the relationship of the two people saying it to each other really does matter, but a melt is someone who's soft, pathetic, and sometimes completely over-emotional about, over tiny things. He started crying because his football team lost a friendly match. What an absolute melt. Calling someone a melt basically means they lack emotional toughness, and we often use it as well to just basically mean they're an idiot, but it is quite a sharp word. I wouldn't want a friend of mine to call me a melt. Next up, wet lettuce. Picture a piece of soggy, limp lettuce just hanging out the side of a sandwich. That is basically what you're calling this person and sort of referring to their spine. He was in a restaurant and the waiter brought over the soup and it was freezing cold. It was absolutely disgusting. No, it wasn't gazpacho. It was meant to be warm, and he didn't even ask the waiter to send it back. He just sat there and ate it. Oh, he's a complete wet lettuce. A wet lettuce is someone who is weak, timid, or sort of refuses to stand up for themselves. And sometimes we also use it to talk about somebody who's just really emotional, over-emotional, just crying all the time. He watched that film and he just cried all the way through it. He's such a wet lettuce. While fruitcake is a traditional dense British cake, and I absolutely love it, as an insult, it implies that someone is completely unhinged or unpredictable, often sort of eccentric. He keeps 3 wild foxes in his living room. The man is a total fruitcake. It just basically means somebody who's completely lost their mind. Now, I love fruitcake, I love eating it, and I also love this word. I may use it in banter with some of my friends, but neutrally with somebody I didn't know, I wouldn't use it because I wouldn't want to offend them. Again, in British culture, the closer you are as friends, the stronger the friendship, the stronger the insults can become. And with my close friends, I might just use the word fruitcake to describe them if they do something that I think is completely insane or eccentric. With somebody I don't really know, I would avoid this word as I think it could actually be quite offensive. The word fruitcake is often paired with the phrase nutty as a fruitcake. Oh, he's as nutty as a fruitcake. And there's that word nutty again, which brings me on to the word nut. Nut as a noun. Now, I would say nuts and nutty, they're a bit weaker than using the noun form. Nut basically means insane, unhinged, and potentially even aggressive. He is an absolute nut. He just started a fight with the barman. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem was. Oh, goodness me. I think I need to stop coming out with him. He is a nut. It's basically questioning the sanity of that person. While fishy can often be used to describe a smell, that smell of fish, calling a situation or a person fishy means that something seems to be wrong, either ethically or legally. It's basically another way of saying seems a bit dodgy. In other words, I don't really trust the person, the situation, or what they're saying. And that's why it could be quite rude. You're effectively saying, I don't believe you or your story. He says he's lost his wallet for the 3rd time this week. I mean, it seems a bit fishy to me. In other words, a bit suspicious. Now, the last 2 are ones that I would never, ever use, even with my friends. So, first of the last 2, we have bad egg. A bad egg. Or even the rarer, harsher version, a rotten egg. This isn't about being silly. This is a moral judgment. A bad egg is someone who's dishonest, dodgy, and untrustworthy. That's why I would never use it with my friends, because I don't hang around with these sort of people. I don't spend time with dishonest or untrustworthy people. I wouldn't leave your phone around him. He seems to be, well, he's a bit of a bad egg. If someone calls you a bad egg, you are officially out of the inner circle. Why would you want to spend time with that kind of person? And as I say, rotten egg could be even harsher. He's a bit of a rotten egg. On the flip side, we do have the compliment good egg, which means a good person, but we don't really use it. It's not very common. I wouldn't say, oh, he's a good egg. You might hear it from time to time, but it's not that common. But it exists. Finally, butters is a massive piece of modern British street slang. Butters basically means unattractive, ugly. And yeah, that's why it's really harsh, because it is harsh to call a person ugly. This word is more commonly used by younger British people. So Sandra said she went on a date with some guy and the picture on his profile didn't really match what he looked like in real life. Basically, she said he was Butters and she's not going to go on a date with him again. In my opinion, Sandra needs to, well, stop being so superficial. She needs to date people for who they are, not what they look like. I really got into that then, didn't I? You may also hear people using the word butters to describe things as well. I tried on those new shoes in the shop, but honestly, they were proper butters. That word proper again. You may get away with it in that sense when you're talking about a thing external from the group. But if my friend were wearing those shoes, I wouldn't say, your shoes are butters, mate. Because again, that's really rude. But again, this one is more commonly used by younger people, but it's worth knowing. So, from calling your best friend a silly sausage or a donut to calling an untrustworthy person a bad egg, British food vocabulary covers the entire spectrum of human emotion. Now, what I want to know in the comments is which of these food insults surprised you the most? And what food is used as an insult in your country? Let me know below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.